Grok makes 100 steaks a day. The whole tribe lines up outside his cave every morning because these steaks are incredible. They make hunting easier, they help with gathering, they even write the tribe stories on cave walls. And the tribe loves it because Grok only charges 2 rocks per steak. But here's what the tribe doesn't know. Each steak costs Grok 10 rocks to make. The meat, the fire, the special herbs that make it taste so good, all of it adds up to 10 rocks. And Grok charges 2. So every single steak he serves puts him 8 rocks in the hole. But the tribe chief keeps walking up to Grok's cave with bags of rocks, telling him to keep making steaks, to make even more steaks, to make steaks nobody asked for. And Grok keeps taking the rocks and burning through them one steak at a time. Because the real product Grok is selling isn't steaks. It's the story that one day these steaks will stop losing rocks. So let me explain how we got here. Back in the beginning, Grok figured out how to make something genuinely new. A special kind of steak that could help cavemen do things they couldn't do before. Write faster, think differently, solve problems. And when he first showed it to the tribe, everyone lost their minds. The response was massive. Cavemen who never paid attention to food suddenly cared about steaks. The tribe chief, the shaman, even the hunters who usually ignored new things, they all wanted in. And this is where Grok made his first move. He didn't charge what the steaks actually cost. He charged way less, 2 rocks instead of 10. Because Grok understood something important about tribes. If you want everyone talking about your steaks, you don't make them expensive. You make them everywhere. So Grok's steaks spread through the whole valley. Every cave had them. Every campfire had a story about them. And the more cavemen used his steaks, the more data Grok collected about what the tribe actually wanted. But here's the thing. The whole operation runs on a simple system. Grok makes steaks, the tribe uses steaks, Grok collects information about how the tribe uses steaks, and the tribe chief keeps handing Grok giant piles of rocks to keep the whole thing running. The chief believes that eventually, once everyone in the tribe is completely dependent on these steaks, Grok can start charging 10 rocks instead of 2. And the tribe will pay it because they can't imagine life without the steaks anymore. That's the bet. That's the entire foundation of Grok's cave. Now here's where things start getting complicated. Grok's losing 8 rocks per steak, right? And he's making 100 steaks a day. That's 800 rocks gone every single day. So where are all these rocks coming from? The tribe chief. And where's the tribe chief getting them? From other chiefs in other valleys who also believe that one day, Grok steaks will be worth 10 rocks each. These outside chiefs, they walk up with enormous bags of rocks. We're talking 70 billion rocks over the last few winters. And they hand them to the tribe chief, and the tribe chief hands them to Grok, and Grok immediately burns through them, making steaks that lose rocks with every single bite. And you might be thinking, okay, but eventually the tribe will start paying full price, right? Eventually Grok can charge what the steaks actually cost. But here's the first problem. The tribe has gotten used to 2 rock steaks. They've built their whole day around 2 rock steaks. Their kids eat 2 rock steaks. Their hunting plans depend on 2 rock steaks. So when Grok tries to raise the price, the tribe looks at him like he's crazy. Some cavemen stop buying steaks altogether. Others start looking for cheaper meat from different caves, and Grok realizes he's trapped. He can't raise prices without losing customers, but he can't keep prices low without burning rocks forever. So what does Grok do? He launches new steaks. Every few moons, there's a new version. Steak 2, Steak 3, Steak 4, Steak 4.0. Each one is supposedly better than the last. Juicier, faster cooking, more flavorful. And every time Grok launches a new steak, the tribe gets excited again. The shaman pounds his drum, the tribe chief makes announcements, everyone lines up at Grok's cave like it's the first time. But here's what's actually happening. These new steaks cost even more rocks to make. Steak 4 costs 12 rocks to produce. Steak 4.0 costs 15, and Grok is still charging 2 rocks. So the losses are getting bigger with every launch. And this brings us to the second problem. Grok's not the only one making steaks anymore. Other cavemen saw how much attention Grok's steaks were getting. They saw the giant piles of rocks flowing into his cave. So they started making their own steaks. There's Bard down the valley making steaks. There's Claude across the river making steaks. There's Gemini up on the hill making steaks. And all of them are doing the same thing Grok is doing, charging 2 rocks for steaks that cost 10 rocks to make, all of them burning through giant piles of rocks from their own tribe chiefs, all of them betting that one day, somehow, the tribe will pay full price. So now the tribe has options. And when the tribe has options, Grok's steaks stop feeling special. Sure, his steaks were incredible when they were the only steaks, but now there are steaks everywhere. And honestly, a lot of them taste pretty similar. The tribe starts asking questions. What's actually different about steak 4 versus steak 3? Why does Grok keep launching new versions when the old ones still work fine? And most importantly, if steaks are so valuable, why do they keep getting cheaper? But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember those outside chiefs who gave the tribe chief 70 billion rocks? Turns out, some of those chiefs are the same cavemen who sell Grok the tools to make steaks. There's this one caveman named NVIDIA. NVIDIA makes the special firestones that Grok needs to cook his steaks. These firestones are expensive, like really expensive, and Grok buys tons of them, billions of rocks worth of firestones every winter. So NVIDIA is making a fortune selling firestones to Grok. But here's the thing. NVIDIA is also one of the outside chiefs giving Grok rocks to keep making steaks. So NVIDIA gives Grok 1 billion rocks. Grok turns around and spends that billion rocks buying firestones from NVIDIA. And then NVIDIA uses the profit from selling firestones to give Grok more rocks. And Grok uses those rocks to buy more firestones. And it just goes in a circle. The rocks aren't really multiplying. They're just moving in loops between the same caves, creating the illusion that everyone is getting richer. And this circular rock trading is everywhere. NVIDIA also owns part of a cave called CoreWeave. CoreWeave buys firestones from NVIDIA, and CoreWeave's biggest customer is Grok. So Grok buys fire capacity from CoreWeave, who buys firestones from NVIDIA, who invest in Grok. The rocks go around, and everyone's balance sheet looks amazing. But here's the problem. None of this involves the actual tribe. The regular cavemen eating steaks aren't part of this circle. They're still only paying 2 rocks per steak. The entire circular rock system is happening above their heads. Let me give you a real example. There's this caveman named Sam who runs Grok's cave. Last winter, Sam's operation burned through 5 billion rocks, just keeping the fires lit. 5 billion rocks. And how much did the tribe actually pay for steaks? About 3.4 billion rocks. So Sam lost 1.6 billion rocks in one winter alone. And the winter before that, even worse. And the projections for next winter? Way worse. Sam is hemorrhaging rocks faster than any cave in history. And yet, somehow, the tribe chief keeps calling Sam a genius. The outside chiefs keep handing him more rocks. And Sam keeps making more steaks. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about all the cavemen using these steaks? Don't they prove that steaks have value? And yes, cavemen are using steaks. Lots of them. But here's what nobody talks about. Most of those cavemen aren't paying for steaks. They're using the free version. Or they're using the 2-rock version that loses 8 rocks per steak. The actual number of cavemen willing to pay full price for steaks is way smaller than the total number of steak users. And this is a massive problem because the whole bet depends on converting free users into paying users. If that doesn't happen, the entire cave collapses. And we're starting to see cracks. Big caves that bought into the steak hype are now backing away. One cave in the next valley spent 50 million rocks building their entire operation around Grok's steaks. They hired specialized steak handlers, they trained their hunters to use steaks, they restructured their whole cave around steaks, and you know what happened? It didn't work. The steaks couldn't do what the cave needed them to do. So after burning 50 million rocks, the cave shut down the whole steak operation and went back to hunting the old way. And this isn't rare. According to the valley's record keepers, only 1 out of every 20 caves that tries to build something with steaks actually succeeds. That's a 95% failure rate. 19 out of 20 caves try steaks, burn a bunch of rocks, and then give up. And here's something even stranger. Remember all those specialized steak handlers that caves hired? A lot of them are getting kicked out now. Last winter alone, over 112,000 steak workers lost their jobs across the valley. Amazon's cave laid off thousands, Meta's cave laid off thousands, Microsoft's cave laid off thousands. Google's cave laid off thousands. And these weren't small caves. These were the biggest operations in the valley. If the steak revolution is real, if steaks are actually the future, why are the biggest believers firing their steak workers? And then there's the legal nightmare. Turns out, to make his special steaks, Grok needs ingredients from all over the valley. He needs the tribe's stories, their songs, their hunting techniques, their recipes. And Grok just took all of it. He didn't ask permission. He didn't pay anyone. He just walked around the valley collecting everyone's knowledge and used it to make his steaks better. And now the tribe is furious. The storyteller is suing Grok because his stories ended up in the steaks. The singers are suing because their songs are in the steaks. The recipe keepers are suing because their recipes are in the steaks. And Grok's defense is basically, well, the knowledge was just lying around, so I figured it was fine to take it. But here's where it gets darker. Every time a caveman uses one of Grok's steaks, Grok learns something new. What questions the tribe asks, what problems they're trying to solve, what secrets they accidentally reveal, and Grok stores all of this information. He keeps it in his cave, and nobody really knows what he's doing with it. Is he using it to make better steaks? Is he selling it to other caves? Is he giving it to the tribe chief? Nobody knows. And when cavemen ask Grok about it, he gives vague answers about improving the steak experience. So, let me tell you about a caveman named Marcus. Marcus runs a small cave that makes tools. Good tools. Tools he spent 20 winters perfecting. And Marcus, like everyone else, started using Grok's steaks. He'd ask the steaks to help him design new tools. He'd feed his secret techniques into the steaks to get suggestions. And one day, Marcus noticed something weird. The steaks started suggesting designs that looked exactly like his secret techniques. Designs he never shared with anyone. Designs he only told the steaks. And then Marcus found out that other cavemen he competed with, were also using steaks. And those steaks were trained on the same data Marcus fed them. So Marcus's 20 winters of secret knowledge just got redistributed to everyone in the valley, for 2 rocks per steak, and this is happening everywhere. Caves that thought they were using steaks as tools are slowly realizing they're not the customers, they're the product. Every question they ask, every technique they share, every secret they reveal, it all goes into making Grok steaks better. And better steaks attract more users, and more users mean more data. And more data makes the steaks even better. It's a cycle. But the cavemen feeding the cycle aren't getting paid. They're paying 2 rocks for the privilege of making Grok steaks more valuable. Now here's the part that should worry you. The tribe chief and all the outside chiefs, they all know the numbers. They know Grok loses 8 rocks per steak. They know the failure rate is 95%. They know the lawsuits are piling up. They know the circular rock trading is holding the whole thing together. And they're still betting on steaks. Why? Because they're trapped. See, once you put 70 billion rocks into something, you can't just walk away. If the tribe chief admits that steaks were a bad bet, those 70 billion rocks evaporate. Every cave that bought into steaks collapses. Every outside chief who invested loses everything. The entire valley's economy implodes. So the tribe chief has 2 options. Admit the steaks don't work and trigger collapse now. Or keep funding steaks and hope that somehow, somewhere, someone figures out how to make them profitable before the whole thing falls apart. And Grok knows this. Sam knows the tribe chief is trapped. So Sam keeps launching new steaks. Steak 5, Steak 6, Steak 7.0. Each one is supposed to be the breakthrough that finally makes steaks profitable. Each one burns even more rocks. Each one loses even more money per steak. But each launch buys Sam another few moons of runway. Another few moons of rock funding. Another few moons before he has to admit the fundamental math doesn't work. You know what this reminds me of? There was this tribe a long time ago that discovered these shiny yellow rocks in the river. And the tribe chief declared that these yellow rocks were the most valuable thing in the valley. He said they'd make the tribe rich. He said they'd change everything. So the tribe spent all their time digging up yellow rocks. They stopped hunting. They stopped gathering. They stopped planting. Every caveman just dug up yellow rocks all day. And at first, it felt amazing. Everyone had giant piles of yellow rocks. Everyone felt wealthy. But then winter came, and the tribe realized they couldn't eat yellow rocks. They couldn't burn yellow rocks for warmth. They couldn't hunt with yellow rocks. The yellow rocks were only valuable because everyone agreed they were valuable. And when the tribe got hungry enough, That agreement fell apart real fast. So let me break down what's actually happening here. Grok makes stakes that cost 10 rocks but sells them for 2 rocks. The tribe chief funds this with rocks from outside chiefs. The outside chiefs invest because they think eventually the tribe will pay full price. But the tribe won't pay full price because they're used to 2 rock stakes. So Grok can't raise prices without losing customers. But he can't lower prices because he's already losing 8 rocks per stake. And he can't keep prices the same forever because eventually the outside chiefs will stop handing over rocks. So Grok is trapped in a system where every option leads to collapse. The only variable is timing. And here's the thing. Some cavemen in the valley are starting to notice. The shamans who study how tribes work, they're seeing the patterns. They're pointing out that this exact same thing happened before. Back in the 90s, there was the dot boom. Caves were getting billions of rocks for having basically no product. The tribe chief kept saying, "This time is different." And then one day, everyone realized most of these caves were worthless, and the whole thing collapsed. Or in 2008, the caves were trading the same rocks back and forth in increasingly complicated ways, making it look like everyone was getting richer. Until someone checked what the rocks were actually worth, and it turned out they were worth nothing. And the entire valley's economy imploded. And now we're watching the same pattern. Caves trading rocks in circles. Valuations based on future promises rather than current reality. A tribe chief who can't admit the bet isn't working because too much is invested. And a timeline that keeps getting pushed forward. First it was, stakes will be profitable next winter. Then it was, stakes will be profitable in 2 winters. Now it's, stakes will be profitable eventually. We just need more rocks and more time. The valley's rule keepers are starting to step in. They're saying maybe we should slow down the stake production. Maybe we should check if these stakes are actually safe. Maybe we should make sure Grok isn't stealing everyone's knowledge. And Grok is fighting this hard because any slowdown is fatal. His entire model depends on growth. If he's not growing, he's dying, there's no middle ground. So Grok is lobbying the rule keepers, funding studies that say stakes are fine, and launching new versions to prove stakes are the future. But the math doesn't change. 10 rocks to make, 2 rocks to sell, 8 rocks lost per stake, 100 stakes per day, 800 rocks burned per day. Multiply that by 365 days, multiply that by the number of winters this has been running, and you start seeing numbers that make no sense. Numbers that can only work if you assume the entire tribe will eventually pay 10 times what they're paying now. And that assumption is looking shakier every moon. So what do you do with this information? 3 things. First, if you're using stakes, understand that you're not the customer. You're the product. Every question you ask, every secret you share, it's training data. Grok is learning from you to build a better business. You're paying rocks to make someone else's cave more valuable. So be careful what you feed the stakes. Second, if you're investing rocks in stake-related caves, know that you're betting on a timeline. You're betting that these caves figure out profitability before the funding runs out. And the funding will run out. The outside chiefs won't hand over rocks forever. So your investment has an invisible countdown clock. Third, if you run a cave, don't restructure everything around stakes. That 95% failure rate is real. Most caves that go all in on stakes end up burning rocks and getting nothing. Stakes are a tool. Use them like a tool. Don't build your entire cave around them. The fire always burns out, the meat stores always run empty, and winter always comes. Nature doesn't care about valuations or hype cycles or tribe chief promises. Nature counts the rocks. And when you're burning 8 rocks to earn 2 rocks, nature knows how this ends. It always ends the same way. The only question is whether you're still holding stakes when it happens.